his disciples, and he likes to talk to them in parables, which are stories that kind of have a point that Jesus wants to explain. So in today's story, we get to meet a slave owner who has some slaves that owe him some money, and one slave in particular. So this guy is going to be our slave owner, all right? So he's sitting there, and this guy, his slave, comes along. Now this guy, let's pretend that all of these stones in this coffee can are the money that he owes, okay? And he owes the slave owner this entire thing, all of it. That's a lot, right? This is pretty heavy. But he knows that he cannot repay the slave owner everything that he owes him. So he begs him. He says, please, forgive what I owe you. And the slave owner says, you know what? I think I will. And that's a lot. He owes this man a lot, but he says, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to forgive it. You do not have to pay me back. Now here's where the story gets interesting, because he goes away from the slave owner. And as he's walking along, he comes along and sees another slave. Now this slave owes him money as well, but he only owes him about that much. You see that? He only owes him a little bit, right? Compared to this. So do you suppose that he did the same thing and forgave that little debt from this guy? What do you think? He didn't. He says, you know what? You owe me that. You need to pay me the money that you owe me, even though it's just a little bit compared to what he owed the slave owner. So he collects it from the guy, and then the slave owner comes along, and he's heard what happened. And basically he says, how dare you? How dare you do that to this man? I have forgiven you this great amount, and you can't even turn around and forgive somebody else what they owe you? Now what Jesus was trying to tell the disciples is that God has given us this amazing gift. Has anybody ever done something to hurt you, to make you mad, to make you upset?
Oh, my mother did.
All the time, right? Every day? Yeah. So have you ever forgiven your brother when he upsets you?
Never ever.
Okay, so you're like the slave I'm talking about, right? Okay, has your brother ever forgiven you? Uh-huh. If you didn't catch that, she said that he kicked her on the couch today and he said, I'm sorry, and she said that didn't help. But it's important to forgive, right? Does your mom ever tell you to go say you're sorry and then have your brother say that he forgives you? Mm-hmm. So it's important that we forgive, right? So we make mistakes. That's a great example. Sometimes we do things to hurt people, and a lot of times we don't mean to. But the point is that we don't want to carry this around in our hearts, because God has forgiven us. God knows we make mistakes. And as long as we go to God and say, you know, I'm really sorry for what I did, God forgives us. But then God asks us to do the same for those around us. Okay? So we need to work on that. It's a hard thing. It's when we are hurt, we don't want to let it go sometimes. We think about it a lot. But we need to work on that. And that's what Lent is about. This word that we've been using lately, the season that we're in, is about changing us in ways that make us closer to God. Okay? Can we say a quick prayer? Good and gracious God, we thank you for your amazing gift of forgiveness. And we ask that you give us the strength to forgive those who hurt us. In Jesus' name we pray.